The 27 words President Trump wouldn't say in his speech at NATO headquarters. Quote, "We face many threats, but I stand here before you with a clear message. The U.S. commitment to the NATO alliance and to Article 5 is unwavering." Susan Glasser from Politico just dropped that report moments ago. She's here with us now, the one reporter who files in the 4 o'clock hour and has my affection forever and ever and ever, along with former U.S. ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul, also an MSNBC Russia Affairs contributor. And our panel is back with us, Robert Traynham up there in the monitor. We'll get to you in a minute because our friend Sean Spicer weighed in on this. Susan, I'm not going to ask you how you got it, but how remarkable that this was in and then taken out.
You know, it's such a simple sentence, right, Nicole? And not only that, but it's one that all of President Trump's top advisors have themselves had to use in recent days. In fact, Vice President Pence, doing what sources described as cleanup duty to me, repeated almost verbatim this exact same sentence that should have been in Trump's NATO speech but wasn't just last night at a speech here in Washington, D.C. Clearly, there is a gap between what the president himself and perhaps the nationalist advisors like Stephen Miller, who authored the speech, believe, and what people like H.R. McMaster, the National Security Advisor, Jim Mattis, the Defense Secretary, are very much hoped that the president could put this NATO issue behind him by going to Brussels and just uttering these 27 words. But that was not to be, obviously.
And, you know, Susan, I was in touch with the traveling, presidential entourage the day the speech was given, and I was told that even on the road, they were having to deliver this message one-on-one to all of the leaders because he didn't say that all they needed to hear, with all of the questions swirling about the president's orbit and his team and potential ties and coordination and communication, whatever you want to call it, with Russia, all they needed to hear were these 27 words. So when he omitted them, they spent that whole stop communicating one-on-one what he refused to say in front of the cameras. Any explanation as to why?
Well, not only that, but in fact, you saw Sean Spicer at the briefing today claiming that it didn't really matter that he didn't say these explicit words because, it's implicit in his attendance at a NATO summit. And, that's obviously not the case. It has opened up not only a rift inside of NATO, and you've seen Western European allies like Angela Merkel and Emmanuel Macron expressing concerns about President Trump's foreign policy ever since that meeting, but obviously now his own credibility of his advisors is seriously at risk. They've spent months reassuring our nervous allies that don't worry about it. President Trump is moderated. He no longer thinks that NATO is obsolete. He's going to come to Brussels for this summit meeting, and you'll see he'll commit once again to this. And so then when he failed to meet the expectations that were set for him by his own team, then, of course, that's what's created a frenzy ever since. I had a very senior diplomat just today from a major U.S. ally tell me, really in sorrow, this just makes their job so much harder.